For everything there is a season, and a time for every matter under heaven. The preacher establishes his thesis. All life operates on a divinely ordained timetable. These times are not random happenings, but purpose-driven activities designed to accomplish God's plan. While we are under heaven and bound by time, God rules from in heaven fixed outside of it. Ancient Near Eastern cultures were deeply attuned to natural and lunar cycles. Today, we live in a culture that glorifies speed and instant gratification, often sacrificing patience for immediate results. Ecclesiastes calls us to stop trying to master time and instead acknowledge that it is in God's hands. A time to be born and a time to die, a time to plant and a time to pluck up what is planted. These are appointments we all must keep. Just as we had no control over our birth, our death is also determined by limits we cannot pass. The agricultural motif represents both the physical life cycle and the necessity of endings to make room for new growth. The ancient farmer understood the tyranny of seasons. Planting in winter meant failure. Today, we use technology and medicine to try to extend seasons and life, yet the core reality remains. We are time-bound creatures who eventually return to dust. A time to weep and a time to laugh, a time to mourn and a time to dance. God does not demand perpetual happiness. Sorrow and joy are both appropriate in their season. Mourning is described as a healthy process for healing after loss. Biblical mourning was communal and ritualized, tearing garments. Today we often curate a house of mirth on social media, masking sorrow. Yet Ecclesiastes reminds us that there is more wisdom found in the house of mourning, because it forces us to face reality. A time to cast away stones and a time to gather stones together, a time to embrace and a time to refrain from embracing, a time to seek and a time to lose, a time to keep and a time to cast away. Casting stones may refer to an ancient warfare tactic of ruining an enemy's field, while gathering represents preparing for growth and peace. Embracing covers the spectrum of human intimacy and boundaries. Verse 6 addresses the wisdom of knowing when to let go of precious things to preserve life. Scarcity defined the biblical era. Keeping was survival. In our consumer-driven age, we struggle with clutter, not just physical items, but bitterness and pride that need to be thrown away to set us free. A time to tear and a time to sow, a time to keep silence and a time to speak, a time to love and a time to hate, a time for war and a time for peace. Tearing was a sign of bad news. Sowing represented the return to normalcy. Speech is under divine control. There are moments where silence is the only virtuous path. The poem concludes with a summary of national and socio-political conditions. Ancient kings went to war in the spring. Today, while we pray for lasting peace, we still face a world filled with conflict and the sinful regimes of men. What gain has the worker from his toil? He has made everything beautiful in its time. Also, he has put eternity into man's heart, yet so that he cannot find out what God has done. This is the core tension. God has given us a longing for the big picture, eternity, yet we are trapped in snapshots of time. Beautiful, or yafi, means appropriate or fitting. Even sorrow has a proper place in the tapestry. We seek profit, or yetron, through career and digital footprints. Ecclesiastes warns that without God, these are just sandcastles before the tide. He has made everything beautiful in its time. He has also set eternity in the human heart, yet no one can fathom what God has done from beginning to end. We are bound by earthly time, yet cursed and blessed with a spiritual thirst for the eternal that the world cannot satisfy. I perceive that there is nothing better than to be joyful and to do good, that everyone should eat and drink and take pleasure in all his toil. This is God's gift to man. Since we cannot master time, we must master how we live inside it. With gratitude, what God does is permanent and perfect. Nothing can be added or taken away. We often say, when X happens, then I will be happy. The preacher tells us the good life is found in the ordinary routine done for the glory of God. In the place of justice there is wickedness. God will judge both the righteous and the wicked. What happens to the sons of men and what happens to beasts is the same. Injustice is a reminder of our beastly quality. Physical death is the great equalizer. Solomon argues from an under-the-sun, earthbound perspective. You cannot observe a difference between a dying man and a dying animal. We long for justice in human courts. Solomon directs us to the only one who can truly balance the books, God, who will bring every hidden act to judgment. Subscribe and join us for Chapter 3.